Hi, David here. Day 9, Happiness Project. What do you know about blame? What do you know about guilt? Do they affect you? Are they part of your persona that you carry with you everywhere you go? Are you that bad that you've got to carry those energies with you because you made a mistake at some time in your past? Because here's the thing. You can't have blame and guilt in the present moment. They have to have come from somewhere else. And if they've come from somewhere else, you're still carrying them. They started back there somewhere. They started when you were a child. They started when you didn't know any better. They started when you didn't know how to do something. So, for 45 years, I carried blame and guilt. It wasn't that I carried the blame and guilt about me so much because I didn't recognize that. I was pointing the finger at other people. I was pointing the finger at other people I could blame. So that was easy then for me to deny responsibility, because if it wasn't me, it had to be someone else. So I could avoid being responsible. And I carried that lack of responsibility through for most of my life. So in order to deal with that, I had to process what I was carrying. And if you want to be happy, and this is after all the Happiness Project, if you want to be happy, finding the blame within you, finding the guilt within you and letting it go is a quick way to become happy. It's a quick way to let go of emotional blocks, a quick way to let go of spiritual blocks. It's a quick way of letting go of mental blocks, and it frees up your physical body. So all of the energy systems of your body, your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body are all taken care of just by letting go of blame and guilt. Because all that blame and guilt do is keep you as a victim. And I've never known a happy victim. I've never known someone who kept their self locked into blame and guilt who's actually been happy. How can it be? And the biggest thing to understand about all of that is that the only thing you're lacking are the skills to do the work. That's why at ABT we're teaching those skills. Because if you don't have the skills, how the hell can you do the work? If you don't have the skill, you can't ride a bike. If you don't have the skill, you can't drive a car. If you don't have the skill, you can't swim. If you don't have a skill, you can't fly a plane. Everything takes learning and training. And so one of the biggest things that happens with blame and guilt is that if I'm carrying it, I blame myself. And then because I'm blaming myself, I'm turning in on myself and I'm saying I must be at fault. And if I'm at fault, there's no way that I can be happy. And that's not how it has to be. Because in my experience over the last 30 years, what I've been able to help people do is release the blame and guilt, release the hurt and pain, release the conditioning that had got them into an unhappy state in the first place. Because happiness depends on being free and clear in your body, free and clear in your mind, free and clear in your emotions, free and clear in your spiritual movements. And if that's not you, the important thing to remember is it can be you. And it doesn't matter how dark the cloud is. We talked yesterday about depression. We talked about anxiety before that. We've talked about the things that you have you don't want, and the things you don't have that you do want. We talked about all those things. And the reality is, if you're carrying guilt and blame, that is something that you have that you really don't want. Because if that's you, the only reason why you've still got it, one, you might not even know it's there, and two, you might not know its effects on you, and three, you don't have the skills to release it. So at Aussie Blokes Talk, we're all about the skill building. These videos, they're about awakening, because our motto is awakening, action, growth. And if you're not aware of what's going on, how the hell can you awaken? If you're blaming yourself and you say there's no answers for me, how on earth can you start to take action? Because there is no way that you're actually looking to find an action that's going to help you overcome what it is you're going through. So this, and I wrote this out this morning, like this is the happiness project, and this is the 9th step on the 9th day, and this is all about to stop blaming yourself for what you don't know, and how the uselessness of blame can keep you stuck. And blame is different from guilt. Guilt, yeah, I've been guilty of things. I've been guilty of lots of things. And if I allow myself to accept that I'm guilty, but I don't have to carry it, and I'm going to make amends and I'm going to do something different next time, then I'm not going to carry that guilt forward. The guilt was then for what I did then. Say something simple. I lied to my mother. Hey, I'm guilty about that. I accept the guilt. I lied. Okay? Did I get away with it? Not really, because spiritually that impinges on me. But I can accept that. I lied. That was in the past. I lied. What's my choice now? My choice now is not to lie. Okay, I choose not to lie. That's okay. But if I carry blame, I blame myself for lying to my mother, and I'm going to be hard on myself because I lied to my mother. If I carry that blame with me, that blame will interfere with my energy going forward, and that blame will continue to help stop me from having happiness. So if I want happiness in my life, it's important for me to understand the uselessness of blame. Blame does not work. Blame is pointing the finger at someone else and then pointing the finger at yourself as well. Blame is saying, you did this, 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 and bringing up everything from the past, and knowing at the same time there's 3 fingers pointing back at you, and you are saying to yourself, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, and you're covering it up by blaming someone else. And the reality is it doesn't work. So why do we do it? Well, we do it because we are taught it. We do it because when we are little children, we take on the blame because our parents are generally dysfunctional. Most parents are dysfunctional. I was dysfunctional. Most of the guys I know in the men's group are dysfunctional. Most of my friends were dysfunctional. Everybody I went to school with was dysfunctional. People I studied with has been dysfunctional. Seems like a plan really to be dysfunctional and find out what we can do about being dysfunctional and how we can get out of things like blame and guilt and get on with our life. The problem is that most people don't even realize that they're stuck in blame. They don't realize they're stuck in pointing the finger at someone else and at the same time holding stuff within themselves that they know they can't speak about because that would make them responsible. And until we become responsible for everything we do and at the same time learn to let go of blame, we will have only moments of happiness because that's the way it works. The goal is to become united within ourselves. And how can I become united within myself? How can I become united in me if I'm splitting myself in half with blame? If I'm blaming myself for what I did as a child or a teenager or a young adult or at work or who I hurt or anything of that. And that doesn't mean I'm not responsible. It means accepting responsibility helps me become the man that I want to be. And if I want to be that man, that means I have to upskill. That means there are things that I have to do, study, learn, work through, go through, in order to free myself of blame, free myself of the hurt and pain of blame, make amends where I need to make amends by apologizing once, not over and over again like a victim. Apologize once, get it done, let it go, free yourself from it. Because otherwise that blame is going to be like a pain in your chest, a knot in your gut, boulders on your shoulders, where you take on the pain of the world in a way because you don't even know what you're dealing with. All you know is you've got the physical manifestations of what's going on, but you don't understand the deep reasons why it's there in the first place. So my belief is that everyone can find a degree of happiness. And finding that degree of happiness can start to expand that happiness. And as you expand that happiness, as you let go of those things you don't want that impede your happiness, it becomes a greater and greater opportunity to have happiness. But if you play the blame game and your focus is on what's wrong and who's wrong and why they're wrong and everything else that goes along with it, what chance do you have at happiness? True happiness. All you will attract into your life are other people who play the blame game, other people who are stuck in their own issues, stuck in their own pain, stuck in their own hurt, and there's plenty enough of those to go around. But if you want something different, then you've got to get rid of blame. You have to learn how to let it go and be free of it. And here at Aussie Blokes Talk, that's what we're about. We're about helping you learn the skills that is going to help you let go of things like blame, let go of things like guilt, because you don't have to carry them. They're superfluous baggage. You know, 2 suitcases of blame and you're carrying it along the street. What the hell does that do for you? I know what it did for me. It caused me to avoid confronting myself. And that, when it happened, when I realized that, I just realized how much of my life I wasn't present in. How much of my life I didn't really feel. How scared I was. How afraid I was to deal with the issues of my life. And it was only through upskilling, learning those skills and teaching others those skills that I finally realized I don't have to carry this anymore. It's not important to me anymore. I can let it go. And I did. And it's freed me up enormously. And I wish the same for you. I wish for you happiness. I wish for you that you are free of blame, that you are free of guilt. Because chances are, you may not even know what you're guilty of. You might think you know what you're guilty of, and you may not even know. Because it's so far back in the past. And we're going to talk more about that later, how we get conditioned, how we take on blame, how we take on guilt. Because some people feel guilty they were born. They feel guilty. They blame themselves for being here. That doesn't have to be. So hey, this is David from Aussie Blokes Talk. Looking forward to your comments, looking forward to your questions. Hopefully be able to help you in any way we can, because that's what we're about. That's what Aussie Blokes Talk is all about. Helping you in any way we can, through questions, through these free videos, through chat, through anyway to have a better life, how to have a happier life and a healthier life. And that's what the Health and Happiness Project is all about. So, David signing out. Bye for now. See you next time.